What's going on, guys? It's Adam P, and welcome back to Newcastle United transfer news. Salty Fabrizio Romano. He is back again, taking more digs at Newcastle today. Unprovoked this time. He's not even taken on a Newcastle journalist in what has been a couple of bizarre days on social media of Luke Edwards calling out Romano. Romano's then responded, and this is something that's been brewing on, I reckon, for a couple of years, where there seems to be a negative stance from Romano towards Newcastle United for whatever reason. I'm not saying Romano doesn't have good intel on the football club, because certainly, in my opinion, when it comes towards the agent side of stuff, he knew when Isak wanted out everything from the agent. He knew everything from Tonali's agent. He knew everything from Victor Munoz's agent, and he even broke a word exclusive on that. But when it comes towards incoming Newcastle news, and it just seems to me that he doesn't have a relationship with the club. It seems to me that Newcastle United doesn't want to work with Fabrizio Romano. They're not happy with him, and he's reporting on the club. And the evidence today, he's now taking shots at Newcastle. It's got nothing to do with this. It's Martin Braga moving to Tottenham in what is a short loan spell, and Romano has intentionally decided to stay. Former Burnley, former Manchester United goalkeeper. Come on. Everyone knows what football club Martin Braga in the Premier League is so synonymous with, and Romano has decided to leave out Newcastle in what is such a petty post. What is the point of that? Why could he not just mention former Newcastle goalkeeper? Are you going to get to this point now where you're not going to mention Newcastle in anything and only mention us when it's sort of negative transfer reports and us losing out on players? It's ridiculous. You're 33 years old. You're supposed to be reporting on all the different football clubs in the world. A bit upset because Luke Edwards called you out a couple of days ago. I mean, what on earth was that post? But yeah, enough about him, because I'm sick of him, to be honest. But before we get into the video, apologies for not uploading the second video last day. I don't feel like I need to explain why I haven't posted a video from the England game. It was just so boring. It was, honestly, I went to the fan zone yesterday in Newcastle, had a good time, drank some beer, but ultimately 0-0 against Ghana. I've got no intention at all of editing that video and just putting it together. You guys don't want to see it. I don't want to make it. It's just that simple. We go again against Panama. It's not the end of the world, but my God, that was a bad game yesterday. And we just always seem to do it. Every major tournament, there's always just one game in the group stage we just seem to play terrible in. We always drop points. We never ever get the full 9 points. It is what it is. We talk about that on Saturday. You guys are here for the transfer news, so if you are new around here, make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you are enjoying the content. I must make the point obvious, if there is any breaking transfer news, if there's a player that's about to come into Newcastle, it'll be here on the channel. We'll get straight into it, so make sure you get down there, subscribe, smash the like button if you're enjoying the content, and let me know your opinions down below. As for Newcastle United transfer news, you guys want to know all about it, and it remains a story from journalists as who is going to be the next person Newcastle go for after losing out on Victor Munoz to Liverpool. It was stated by Craig Hope yesterday afternoon that Newcastle like Matías Fernández Pardo at Leo, but there is a feeling he will have options elsewhere. Also monitoring the situation of Sel Almala at Cologne. The pair are among Liverpool's list of backup options in wide areas. I wish that was a parody post. It's not. Craig Hope has actually posted that yesterday, saying that although these players are options, Matías Pardo especially is someone that Newcastle themselves personally doesn't believe they will get at this football club, hence why they haven't decided to go all in for him. And they've also said that the other players as well are both wanted by Liverpool. So it sounds like after Victor Munoz, Liverpool might not even be done with Newcastle's targets this summer. Liverpool, can you just do one? Seriously, can you just do one? And I'm not even joking at this point. Can we just target some crap players? Can we just say it to the media? We're going to buy some terrible players and Liverpool just go and get them instead. Liverpool are so annoying. They will not leave us alone. And I can't blame them, to be honest, because they had Newcastle's number over the past 18 months. Last summer, Hugo Ekitike, Newcastle had well over a foot through the door to sign Hugo Ekitike. Snatch him last minute. They come and take Isak off us. Again, Victor Munoz, well over a foot in the door to sign him. Liverpool know they can get Newcastle's targets. So in their point of view, why would Liverpool do the hard work? Why would Liverpool be the ones that scout players? Why would Liverpool be the ones that decide to speak to players and negotiate with players, when simply they can just wait for Newcastle. They'll probably do look at us in the transfer market and the optics side of things, and they'll probably look at Newcastle and just go, well, if Newcastle goes and gets a player, we know we can just get their player, so why would we put the effort in? It's mental. It is mental, but it is the transfer market, and Newcastle themselves as well, I don't think have done themselves any favours. And I know, again, with the Victor Munoz stuff, it's clear that the players mug Newcastle off. It's clear that the agents mug Newcastle off. But surely, in our point of view, when you're negotiating, when you're speaking to the player, you have to know, or at least have some knowledge of whether or not this is a legitimate player that wants to join the club. I feel like if there's a player and agent there that are wanting to use Newcastle or wanting to potentially have a different football club come in, surely you won't be that naive. I feel like you can catch out a liar. I don't feel like it should be that hard to spot whether or not a player is authentic and whether or not a player actually wants to join Newcastle. I feel like surely as a negotiator and surely in the recruitment side of things, you should be able to identify to some extent whether or not a player actually wants to play for Newcastle. But yeah, that's the optics now. Liverpool potentially could just be waiting all summer long to try and get Newcastle's targets in the market. Then you have Jordan Croden, so he came out and said Newcastle United is exploring our targets after missing out on Victor Munoz. So he said that Bayer Leverkusen and Bosnian forward Kerman Alabegovic, among several players Newcastle have looked at in this market. And again, some of the targets you would have seen that already. Abdi Eze, the sort of players that have been listed there. When you look at options, it just seems to be where Newcastle is now. They still are looking, they still are scrambling around, attempting to figure out who is going to replace Anthony Gordon. This is kind of the problem with Newcastle. And again, I can only judge on what I've seen in social media, but Newcastle felt like they were going to get Victor Munoz. They were confident they were going to get the deal done. They had staff members either in America or preparing to go to America. And then Liverpool's swooped in behind the club's back. And Newcastle lost out, not just in the player, but they've lost out in the media world and the transfer market as well. They just look like a club that can be played. They were played. They were played last summer. They were played this summer. And Newcastle just seems to be a football club. Not only is struggling to bring players in because of where they finished last season, because of the fact that they don't have Conference League, they don't have Europa League, they don't have Champions League next season. You also just seem like a club that just seems a bit naive in the market. They just don't seem to be able to figure out which players want to be here, which players don't want to be here. And Newcastle simply just haven't got the deals done. That's what you got to look at here. And again, I don't want to try and create a narrative or create a picture, because ultimately Newcastle could sign a player a couple of hours from now, maybe tomorrow, a couple of days' time. Newcastle might have a couple of players through the door. At this moment in time, I can only judge on the evidence I've seen in social media. And the evidence is Newcastle has one goalkeeper in. They've missed out on Johanna. They missed out on Victor Munoz. There were two players the club wanted. And simply the club now exploring options, exploring clubs, exploring players. Honestly, we are Dory Explorer FC. All we've done for the past couple of weeks is explore players. We've been exploring everywhere. We just have to land some deals. I can't make it any clearer. Newcastle, whether or not they are desperate behind the scenes, I don't personally know. But they certainly, in a social media sense, look a bit desperate when reporters are pushing out all these players and all these options, and Newcastle simply isn't completing anything behind the scenes. And this is it again. They can't sell Tonali without bringing players in, and they haven't even replaced Gordon yet. In fairness though, Gordon was terrible yesterday against Ghana. I watched that performance against Ghana and I looked at it and went, £80 million for that. I've been taking that every day of the week. I thought he was terrible against a low blocking team, and that typically tends to be one of Gordon's major weaknesses. He just can't seem to find that chance or that moment against a team that will just put everyone behind the ball. However, until Newcastle brings those players in, we find ourselves in a situation now where it's the same old every day on the channel and every day so far in the transfer market. A club that is looking at all these options, either don't believe they're going to get him, different football clubs want them, different football clubs sign. But Newcastle just always seems to be a step behind someone or a step behind a different football club. They just seem to be all over the place, and again, I can only judge on what I've seen, but it doesn't look good, unfortunately. And Newcastle just have to get deals in. If they get deals done, they'll shut everyone up and they'll look a much better team. And project-wise, they'll look healthier going to next season. And you guys have something to look forward to. Newcastle have this money to spend. They're selling players. They're clearly getting good sales as well. So They got to land deals. They've got to get it done. If they've got any chance of having a good season next year, they have to complete deals. It's simply not acceptable at the minute. They've got one goalkeeper in and 0 outfield players. I'm not faulting the lack of effort because they have attempted to bring players in, but they haven't landed deals. It's that simple. It doesn't mean a thing until you land deals. Newcastle can do all the work they want. They can speak to all the agents and all the players they want. If they don't join Newcastle United, it's all a waste of time. They have to land targets. They have to land deals. And they have to spend their time and effort on players they truly believe will be at Newcastle United. They can't allow themselves, and they can't afford to be played again. They can't allow teams like Liverpool to be so confident where they're prepared to actually sit back and to wait for Newcastle because they're so confident we're going to balls up a deal where they can just come in and get any player we want if they fancy that player. And that seems to be what we are now. We seem to be a club that even our clubs will look at and just go, well, Newcastle, if they're going for them, that's going to be helpful for us. We can just get them off Newcastle. And that's what we look. We look weak. We look weak in the market. We look weak at different Premier League clubs. And we do have some breaking news while I'm recording this video. So this has only just came out from the Chronicle before, but Lee Ryder is claiming that Antonio Nusa is awaiting an approach from Newcastle United. So RB Leipzig has cut down his price to just over £40 million. A player, of course, who is currently out of the World Cup for Norway. Hasn't lit up at the tournament yet, despite Norway's success in the competition so far. But will be a player that is available this summer, and would be a player, by the sounds of it, would be interested in potentially moving to Newcastle. But as we learnt the hard way, whether or not he is using Newcastle to get somewhere else or he actually wants to go to Newcastle, we're yet to find out. But a player just over £40 million. Stat-wise, when you look at him for RB Leipzig, okay numbers. I've seen a lot of people be quite big on Nusa. Now, I'm not going to lie, I haven't watched an awful lot of him. He's not someone that I tend to watch much of. But from what I've seen in social media, people do tend to big up Antonio Nusa quite a lot. But when I look towards goals and assists, which I feel like is quite an important part, any outright option, not many. Not bad numbers, not great numbers either. But he certainly is a young player, so I'm not going to knock it. Newcastle must clearly see something. You guys must clearly see something. So I'm going to trust you all. I'm going to assume that Nusa would be not great at Newcastle. But yeah, we'll see what happens over the next couple of days in regards to Nusa. Certainly, though, Newcastle still at least attempt to bring someone in. But again, actions speak louder than words. So we're going to have to see if Newcastle will pursue a potential sign for Antonio Nusa. Some of the stuff we can't help. The wage structure we can't help. The PSR, the FFP, to some extent, we can't help because we are restricted. That isn't an excuse because Newcastle still wasted well over £250 million last summer. That doesn't excuse the money we do spend. But Newcastle is somewhat restricted by the market. And again, when you had a bad season, they've got to bounce back. They've got to look good this summer. They simply don't look good so far. So yeah, we'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. Again, I'm patient. I am extremely patient. And I'm enjoying the sun. I'm enjoying the warm weather, and I encourage you all to do the same as well. Newcastle, I know it's frustrating. Trust me, it is frustrating. But again, just try not to be so fixated on it. Get some fresh air. Enjoy the warm weather. Enjoy the World Cup. The World Cup's been good so far. So enjoy the tournament and just make sure that you can chill out for now. Enjoy this summer. Have a good time with your family, your pets, your friends, whoever it may be. And just make sure you try not to focus too much in Newcastle because they have been a nightmare over the past couple of weeks or so. But appreciate you watching anyway, guys. If you don't mind me, I'm going to go chill outside for a bit. Enjoy your day as well. If there's any big news, second upload today. If not, though, we'll be back tomorrow. Take care, and we'll see you all in the next one.